Welcome back to Top 10 Tunes, your top 10 channel for everything music related. Today, we're going to be looking at the top 10 progressive rock albums of all time. Coming in at number 10 is Mirage by Camel. One of the more underground albums to make this list, Mirage includes all of the hallmarks that make progressive rock one of the more cerebral rock genres. While Camel wouldn't achieve mainstream rock success, they maintain a strong cult following amongst many of today's progressive rock practitioners. At number 9 is Misplaced Childhood by Marillion. This album, that explored childhood memories from former vocalist Fish's past, actually went to number 1 in the UK Top 40. Rather than morphing their sound into art pop, like so many 1970s progressive rock acts had done, Marillion took the sound of original progressive rock and formed it into neo-progressive, which existed throughout the 1980s and 1990s. Coming in at number 8 is Aqualung by Jethro Tull. While their album Thick as a Brick is a more encompassing progressive concept, Aqualung signaled that Jethro Tull were a major tour de force in progressive rock. Their shift away from the blues, jazz, and folk elements of their first 3 albums influenced a slew of progressive rock acts afterwards, incorporating heavy rock elements instead. Coming in at number 7 is Days of Future Past by Moody Blues. While predating the progressive rock movement proper, this symphonic psychedelic album can be seen as the spark. The combination of 1960s pop songwriting with 20th century classical orchestration are the 2 elements that would make up progressive rock moving forward. Coming in at number 6 is The Raven That Refused to Sing and Other Stories by Steven Wilson. The most recent album on this list, this album can be seen as a love letter to 1970s progressive rock. Everything from the instrumentation, song per thematic concept structure, and production by Alan Parsons paint this album as a period piece. While Steven Wilson's music has evolved since, this album looked back in order to move forward. At number 5 is Fragile by Yes. While Yes has had a tumultuous history in regards to band members and recording eras, this album captured them at their instrumental peak. Striking a balance between virtuosity and songwriting, this album would cause a stir amongst mainstream rock radio. At number 4 is Selling England by the Pound by Genesis. 5 albums into their career, Genesis were able to take their live theatricality and capture it in a recording. Rather than display the instrumental virtuosity of its members, the music of Genesis on this record was able to help tell the stories. Complex, yet charming in their narratives, this progressive rock album truly flourishes. At number 3 is Moving Pictures by Rush. While their records in the 1970s were dominated by sidelong thematic concepts, this album simplified things. Paring down their arrangement and songwriting into shorter songs created a formula that Rush would use for the following decades. The sound created by Rush on Moving Pictures would dominate the 1980s in regards to synthesizer-driven progressive rock. At number 2 is Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Deceptive in its simplicity, this album masks highly cerebral concepts. Despite this, its popularity allowed this album to linger on the Billboard Top 200 long after its initial release. Early experimental and psychedelic recordings of Pink Floyd would influence how this album would create a sonic soundscape. At number 1 is In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson. While never achieving mainstream success, King Crimson arguably started it all with this record. Every progressive act that followed throughout the 1970s would name-check this album as required listening. From its instrumentation that differed from traditional rock band setups, to its sweeping song structures, this album was truly something different. While progressive rock would live up to its name and evolve throughout the following decades, it will always owe a debt to this record. Thank you for watching Top 10 Tunes. Be sure to comment your favorite progressive rock albums down below, as well as like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.